Good morning. I want to thank particularly all the student groups that have come together and made this event possible and their voices heard throughout the country. Just to highlight some of the great work that they've done, the Young Invincibles just finished a youth bus tour, hitting 21 states to highlight issues like student debt. The U.S. PIRG and Rebuild the Dream, they're here today, and they've delivered hundreds of thousands of petitions in support of keeping rates low on student loans. The National Campus Leadership Council and the United States Student Association are here, and they've built a strong coalition of student government leaders in support of this effort. And students and young people are incredibly engaged on this issue, and they have a powerful voice and impact here in Washington, D.C. Shortly, we'll be hearing from Clarice McCants from Howard University. She'll tell us her story. And of course, I'd like to thank Chairman Harkin and Senator Sherrod Brown for their leadership in this effort. In less than 2 months, 54 days from now, federal student loans will double to 6.8% unless Congress acts. If rates on subsidized staff loans are allowed to rise, as many as 7.4 million students will pay about $1,000 a year in additional interest payments. Right now, students across the country are sitting around the kitchen table with their families, looking at their financial aid awards and deciding whether they can afford to borrow federal student loans to attend college. The good news is that there seems to be a bipartisan consensus that we should not allow the rate to double, that we should extend the current rate for at least 1 more year. The bad news is that my colleagues on the other side have chosen to use the student loan interest rate as another opportunity to attack health care. The President has already said that he would veto this attempt to pit health against education in a zero-sum game where every middle-class family will lose. The Senate should reject this approach as well. It should be noted that while the other side would raise a fund for preventive health services to keep the student loan interest rates from doubling, they do not propose to pay for all their proposals. For example, they've proposed extending all the Bush tax cuts without paying for them. Following this logic, students are probably wondering, why isn't the risk of their paying double the interest on their federal student loans given the same treatment as tax breaks for the wealthiest? We have proposed to pay for the 1-year extension by closing an egregious loophole in the tax code that has enabled certain high-wage earners to avoid paying their fair share into Social Security and Medicare by misclassifying wages as profits through a subchapter S corporation. This is a loophole that should be closed, regardless of the offset. I hope my colleagues on the other side of the aisle will take a serious look at it and join us in supporting this bill. If not, I hope they come to the table with a serious plan for moving forward. Given Republican insistence that tax subsidies for big corporations shouldn't be offset, it would be very difficult for them to try to and claim preventing this de facto tax increase on low and middle income students does. The clock is ticking. The time to act is today. In fact, we'll have the first vote about noon. Students and families will be watching. I hope, in fact, we are collectively able as this Senate to rise above the degree of partisanship and help working families across the country.